But freedom, like all things, demands responsibility. You realize you cannot hide behind wisdom. You must live it. You must face injustice with courage. You must meet temptation with discipline. You must encounter chaos with compassion. The Stoics never fled from life. They stood in it, fully, completely, honestly. And so must you. You do not become a statue. You become a flame, alive, moving, illuminating, yet never consumed. You no longer ask life to be easy. You ask for the strength to meet it. You no longer pray for comfort. You pray for clarity. You no longer seek escape. You seek endurance. Because you know now, peace is not found by avoiding the fire. It is found by walking through it, unburned. You carry yourself with quiet strength now, the kind that needs no recognition, the kind that grows in silence, not in spotlight. You understand that life is short, that death is certain, that time is slipping through your fingers like sand. But that realization doesn't bring fear. It brings urgency, not to rush, but to live deeply, fully, truthfully, to say the words that matter, to forgive before it's too late, to love while you can, because you've seen too much emptiness, to waste another moment on what doesn't matter. You have learned the sacred rhythm of life, to act without attachment, to care without control, to live without fear. And when the end comes, as it will for all, you will not tremble, you will not plead, you will simply smile, knowing you have lived as nature intended, with reason, with virtue, with peace. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Death smiles at us all. All a man can do is smile back." And you will. Not because you are fearless, but because you have understood life. You will close your eyes not with regret, but with gratitude for every breath, every trial, every lesson, for the silence that shaped you, for the storms that refined you, for the moments of pain that revealed your strength. You will know that you lived well, that you met the world as it was, and became something greater within it. You will fade into eternity, not as someone who ran from life, but as one who walked through it with grace. And in that final breath, you will whisper to the universe, as the Stoics once did, "I have lived according to nature. I have done my part. I am free." You find beauty in the smallest moments, a sunrise through fog, a stranger's smile, the scent of rain on dust. You no longer chase what glitters. You pursue what endures. You understand now that a rich life is not built on possessions, but on presence. Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more who is poor." You have stopped craving. You have stopped measuring your worth by the scales of the world. You are enough, here, now, without needing to become anything more. But you still strive, not for approval, not for perfection, but for excellence. Because to live as a Stoic is not to be motionless. It is to move with intention. You wake with purpose. You speak with care. You act with principle. You no longer react to life. You respond to it. When insulted, you remain composed. When tested, you remain grounded. When ignored, you remain dignified. Your peace no longer wavers with the opinions of others. You no longer chase validation. You embody value. The wise do not seek applause. They seek alignment. And in that alignment, they find joy. The Stoics called this eudaimonia, a flourishing soul, a life lived in harmony with reason and virtue. You realize that happiness was never a pursuit. It was a byproduct of living rightly, of thinking clearly, of loving purely. And so you begin to live simply. You stop wasting words. You stop pretending. You stop explaining yourself to those who cannot see you. You walk lighter. You own less. You want less. Your mind, once a battlefield, becomes a sanctuary. And within it, you find a voice, calm, wise, unshakable, that whispers, "This is what freedom feels like." Night falls again. The world quiets. But your mind remains awake. You lie there, staring at the ceiling. And for the first time in a long time, you are not afraid of your thoughts. They come, they flow, they leave, like waves that no longer threaten to drown you. You've stopped resisting them. You've stopped fighting yourself. In that stillness, you begin to feel something deeper than peace. You feel clarity. You see that so much of life's pain was born, not from what happened, but from the stories you told yourself about it. The betrayal wasn't the end. It was the unveiling. The failure wasn't a curse. It was a redirection. The loneliness wasn't punishment. It was preparation. You realize now that every silence had meaning. Every delay had purpose. Every heartbreak was a lesson in disguise. You close your eyes. You breathe. And for the first time, you whisper not "why me?" but "thank you." Not to anyone, not to anything, just to existence itself, because you finally see the hidden order in the chaos, the quiet rhythm beneath the noise, the way everything and even the pain was leading you here, to this moment, to this calm, to this truth. Epictetus wrote, "Don't seek for everything to happen as you wish it would, but rather wish that everything happens as it actually will. Then your life will flow well." You understand it now, not as theory, but as living truth. You no longer wish to control the wind. You only wish to adjust your sails. And so you do. You live not by resistance, but by alignment. When someone wrongs you, you forgive, not to free them, but to stay light. When something ends, you bow, because endings are just beginnings wearing different names. When pain returns, you welcome it, because pain is proof that you're still alive, still growing, still human, and you are grateful for that. You see the world for what it is, temporary, fleeting, imperfect, and still somehow beautiful. You stop asking for more time. You start using the time you have. You write, you breathe, you walk, you love, quietly, deeply, without fear. But to perfect, the world no longer feels cruel. It feels honest. It gives you exactly what you need to grow, not what you want to stay the same. And through this understanding, a deeper compassion is born. You stop judging others for their weakness. You see their pain. You recognize their struggle mirrors your own. And so you offer what the world rarely gives, gentleness. Because strength, you now know, is not found in domination, but in understanding. The Stoics taught that to be wise is to be kind, for wisdom without compassion is only arrogance in disguise. And so you carry this truth quietly, to live rightly, to love purely, to act with purpose, and to let go of the rest. You realize that happiness was never lost. It was simply buried beneath noise, beneath fear, beneath resistance. When you stop grasping, it returns, softly, effortlessly, like light entering a room you forgot to open. You begin to move through life differently, not rushed, not desperate, not afraid. You walk slowly, aware of every sound, every breath, every heartbeat. You no longer measure life by what you achieve, but by how deeply you live. You understand now that the Stoics never sought perfection. They sought presence, not to escape pain, but to meet it with reason, with grace, with dignity. And in doing so, they found freedom. Freedom from desire, freedom from fear, freedom from the tyranny of what-ifs. That same freedom is now yours, because you have learned the greatest lesson of all. Peace is not given, it is chosen. Every day, every moment, every breath, you stand again in the world, not untouched by it, but unbroken by it. You face the chaos and whisper, do your worst. Because within you lives something greater than fear, something eternal, something no storm can extinguish. Your soul, your reason, your peace. And now finally, you understand what the Stoics meant all along. To live well is not to avoid suffering, but to rise through it, to remove all that is unnecessary, so that only truth remains. You begin to live by one question: what is within my control? The answer simplifies everything. You cannot control others, so you forgive them. You cannot control outcomes, so you release them. You cannot control the past, so you make peace with it. You return again and again to the small space that is yours to govern. Your thoughts, your actions, your attitude. That is where freedom lives. And when anger rises, you breathe. When envy stirs, you remember what's meant for you cannot be taken. When fear whispers, you reply, let it come, I will endure. You become your own guardian, your own philosopher, your own peace. The storms of others no longer sink your ship. Their chaos does not disturb your sea. You have learned the sacred art of detachment, not indifference, but understanding. You love deeply, but you do not cling. You give freely, but you do not expect. You live fully, but you do not demand. And in that balance, you discover serenity. Your joy no longer depends on circumstance. Your worth no longer depends on validation. Your peace no longer depends on perfection. You are whole, here now as you are. You stop searching for meaning. You start creating it. Through kindness, through discipline, through integrity. Virtue becomes your compass. Not pleasure, not approval, not comfort. Virtue, the quiet alignment between your mind and your actions. The courage to do what is right, even when unseen. The strength to stay calm, even when provoked, the grace to be kind, even when wronged. That is the Stoic path. Not cold, not emotionless, but steady, like fire contained in the heart. You begin to see suffering differently now. Not as an enemy, but as a sculptor. Every blow removes what is false. Every loss reveals what is eternal. You wake one morning, and something has shifted. The air feels lighter, the thoughts quieter. The pain still lingers, but it no longer defines you. It simply is. You walk through the same streets, see the same faces, but they no longer stir chaos within you. Because now you understand, people act according to their nature. The unkind will be unkind. The selfish will be selfish. The lost will lash out. You cannot change their nature, but you can change your response. You smile, not because life is easier, but because you are wiser. You have stopped asking life to be gentle. Instead, you have learned to be strong. The Stoics said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And now you know, freedom isn't the absence of chains. It's the understanding that they were never real. You begin to see how much of your suffering was self-inflicted, how often you chained yourself with expectation, how often you surrendered peace to pride, how often you mistook comfort for happiness. Now, you choose differently. You choose stillness over reaction. You choose understanding over judgment. You choose presence over regret. You stop running from pain. You invite it in. You let it sit beside you, and you ask, "What are you here to teach me?" Because every ache, every loss, every ending comes bearing wisdom, and wisdom is the only wealth that cannot be taken. You see the world as it truly is. Temporary, fragile, beautiful. You stop clinging to moments. You let them pass. Like clouds across a vast, indifferent sky, you begin to value time, not in hours or years, but in awareness. A single moment of true presence is worth more than a lifetime of distraction. You watch the sunrise, and it's not just another day. It's a miracle, a silent reminder that life continues, regardless of your worries. You start to forgive yourself for the mistakes, for the weaknesses, for the times you did not know better. You were learning. You were human. You were becoming. You no longer punish yourself for the past. You simply learn, adjust, and move forward. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." And so, you stop replaying pain. You stop living twice, once in the past and once in fear. You begin to trust the unfolding. You begin to trust yourself, not because you think everything will go right, but because you know you'll remain steady when it doesn't. This is strength, not resistance, but acceptance. Not hardness, but harmony. You are no longer at war with life. You have joined its rhythm. You walk alongside it, like a friend, and yet the world still tests you. It always will. Pain returns as it must. Loss visits as it does for all. But now, you meet it differently. You don't break. You bow, like a tree in wind, bending but never uprooted. You understand now. The universe gives and takes, not to punish. The world changes. You change with it. But the essence remains, unmoved, eternal, still. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Look well into yourself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if you will always look." That source is not outside you. It never was. It is the quiet knowing that whatever comes, you can endure, you can adapt, you can remain whole. You have walked through darkness. You have faced silence. You have felt the weight of the world press upon your chest. And yet, you are still breathing, still standing, still becoming. This is what it means to live with reason, to live with purpose, to live with soul. You do not need more. You need less. Less fear, less noise, less attachment. You return to simplicity, to truth, to virtue, and there you find peace. It is not dramatic. It is not loud. It does not announce itself. It simply is, like a mountain unmoved by the wind, like the ocean beneath the storm, like the soul that no longer seeks validation from the world. You have learned that calm is not weakness, it is mastery. That restraint is not repression, it is control. That silence is not emptiness, it is power. And in that silence, you begin to hear again the heartbeat of existence, the whisper of eternity, the soft truth that everything is as it should be. You close your eyes, you breathe, you accept. The world continues to move. People come and go, dreams rise and fall. But you remain still, not because you don't care, but because you have finally understood. The world outside you is not your enemy. The battle was always within, and you have won. But as armor, the world cannot take from you what you have already surrendered. It cannot break what has chosen to bend. And slowly the fear begins to fade. You no longer need certainty. You no longer seek control. You learn to walk through the unknown as if it were home. You look at your reflection and see not the person who suffered, but the one who endured, the one who faced hell and did not flinch, the one who stood still when all else collapsed. That is who you truly are, not the child of comfort, but the warrior of silence, because the greatest power is calm, and the greatest wisdom is restraint. You do not need to speak to prove your strength. You do not need to win to prove your worth. You do not need to be seen to be whole. You live according to nature, according to reason, according to truth. And when others rage, you remain unmoved. When others boast, you remain humble. When others despair, you remain steady. Your peace does not depend on them. It never did. You learn to forgive, not because they deserve it, but because your heart deserves peace. You learn to let go, not because it's easy, but because holding on is heavier than healing. You learn that time is short, that this day, this breath, this moment is all you truly own. The Stoics called it memento mori. Remember, you must die, not to frighten, but to awaken, to remind you that life is borrowed, that every sunrise is a gift, that the only tragedy is to waste it on things you cannot change. And so you live differently, with intention, with stillness, with gratitude. You stop chasing happiness. You start cultivating peace. You stop demanding from life. You start working with it. You rise each morning knowing the day will test you, and you meet it with quiet readiness. You lose people. You lose dreams. You lose illusions, but you never lose yourself, because your anchor is not in them. It is within. You become the calm in the storm, the fire that warms, not burns, the light that does not blind but guides. And one day you realize you no longer need to be healed, because you were never broken, only growing, only learning, only remembering what you always were, complete. When everything falls apart, you learn what truly holds you together. Not the world, not the people, not the things you once reached for in desperation, but something deeper, something silent, something unbreakable. It lives inside you, waiting for the noise to end, waiting for you to stop running, waiting for you to listen. They call it strength. They call it resilience. The Stoics called it virtue, but it is simply the art of standing still while the storm screams around you. You will be broken. You will be betrayed. You will be forgotten. And yet none of these will define you unless you let them. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The world may burn. The people you love may fade into memory. The dreams you built may turn to ash. And still, you can rise, because nothing external was ever truly yours. Only your response, only your reason, only your will. There is a kind of freedom in loss. When the last illusion shatters, you see clearly. You see that peace was never in control. It was in surrender. You learn to breathe again, slowly, deeply, not to escape, but to return to this moment, to what is. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." And for the first time, you understand what that means. The pain isn't the enemy. The fear isn't your cage. The chaos isn't your punishment. They are all teachers, cold, ruthless, honest, but teachers nonetheless. You learn that control is a myth. That expectation is suffering. That happiness is not found. It is created. Inside the space between what is and what you wish it to be, you stop fighting the current. You let the river take you, not because you've given up, but because you finally learned to trust its direction. There is a beauty in acceptance, a silent nobility in endurance, a kind of sacred dignity in suffering well. Seneca wrote, "Sometimes even to live is an act of courage." And how true that is. To wake up when you don't want to move when your body trembles, to breathe through pain that has no name. That is courage. That is victory. The world glorifies the loud, the successful, the visible. But the greatest battles are fought in silence, in the heart that refuses to surrender, even when no one is watching. You sit alone in the dark. You face yourself, the regrets, the mistakes, the losses, and then you whisper, "I am still here." That whisper is the beginning of everything. Because survival is not enough. You were not made merely to exist. You were made to become, to refine yourself through fire, to emerge tempered, not broken. Pain, you see, is not your curse. It is your forge. Every heartbreak, every failure, every moment of despair, each one hammers you into something stronger, sharper,